Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Good Girls in Remission. My name is Kirsty. I am your host for today. In this episode today, I thought we could talk about princess treatment. You might have seen on my social media, on Instagram, that we talked a lot about princess treatment in the last week or so. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to go into a little bit more depth on the subject, what it is, who gets it, how to get it, etc., etc. This is a very juicy subject, so I'm not going to hold back on this one. Let's just get straight into it. What the hell is princess treatment? Princess treatment, by definition, is self-defense from men who hate themselves. Self-defense from men who do not value your company. Forget about taking jujitsu lessons. We are taking princess treatment lessons, okay? What exactly is involved in the process of princess treatment? There will be people who will say that no money is needed, that princess treatment is just the way that he treats her. And I agree. I think there's definitely a level of that, but I also think that it does take a certain amount of income, or it does take a certain amount of money for a woman to feel truly spoiled. There is princess treatment, and then there's a relationship. You can have a relationship with princess treatment in there. And I think that you should definitely make it your standard to not accept a relationship without the princess treatment. When I decided to leave the dusty 50-50 realm, and all of the women and men associated with those circles, I was mind blown at just how normal it is to receive princess treatment. It must take a certain amount of understanding for a man to realize how much it fucking costs to exist as a woman in this life. And if you want access to a beautiful woman, to one who takes care of herself, to one who is high maintenance, who invests a lot of money in good quality food, a gym membership, good quality hair care products, good quality makeup, good quality everything else, or even not good quality, it's still fucking expensive. He has to compensate for the money that you're spending on yourself and the way that he's benefiting from that. And this isn't consciously said, by the way. This is a very subconscious understanding. The guys who get it, get it. They don't need to be told by a woman to give her princess treatment. He just fucking gets it already. If he doesn't want to give to her, he knows it's because he doesn't really like her that much, and he goes find someone else. And the same goes for women as well. Women who expect that kind of treatment are of the highest caliber. I'm not talking about in their career. I'm talking about their self-esteem. Their self-esteem is of the highest caliber. They know what they're worth, and they expect that to be shown in the form of whatever value pleases them. These types of men in no way, shape, or form are asking these women, okay, what are you going to do for me in return? I gave you this, now what are you going to do for me? It just doesn't fucking exist. These conversations are not being had. The relationships are incredibly real. They are built on love, genuine connection, aligned values, and a genuine liking of each other. Now, how do we approach these types of relationships and call them into our life? We approach them by having a set of values that we want to find in a partner. At this point in time, we know exactly what we want. We also know exactly what kind of personality traits that we need in a man that will complement us and bring out the best in us. Not what we can just use and take advantage of, but who is going to help us become the best version of ourselves. How can we encourage each other to become the best version of ourselves? That to me is the whole point of these types of relationships, to literally bring the best out of each other. You are two individuals coming together as a team to help each other on this journey of life. If you go into dating with the mindset of who's going to give me princess treatment, you're doing it wrong. I've got my blinders on. I'm going to be looking for who pays for my dates, who pays for this, blah, 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 who spoils me. You're coming from the wrong angle. All of that is a given when you align with the person who is right for you. Your job is to make sure that you are living in alignment with your passion and your truth, your highest truth. Why? Because when you are connected to your truth, your passion, your purpose, you as a person are lit up and you gain access to all universal resources to make that dream, that whatever you're working on, a reality. And you have so much freaking energy. You can be tired some days, maybe need a break, but essentially you're so lit up by that purpose that you have so much to give. I felt this shift in myself as well. When you're not living in your purpose and your passion, everything just feels very slow and you have nothing to give. And you sometimes you have those seasons in life as well where you just need a rest. But when you are connected to your passion and your purpose, you do generally have a lot more energy. The second thing that you need to focus on is, honestly, as simple as this is, focusing on how you can become the best version of yourself and what you want that to look like. I'm not just talking about how you can become a millionaire, how you can look the best, how you can be skinny, or whatever it is. I'm actually more referencing the way that you feel. When I started doing work with feminine energy and I started prioritizing the way that I felt over the external circumstances, I had a huge internal shift, and it was one of the best ones I went through. I completely lost interest in building a big booty for the gym, so my whole health and fitness routine took a massive restructure change. I had a 5-day split at the gym that's been completely scrapped, and now I'm just doing Pilates a couple of times a week while walking. The amount of energy that I feel has been poured back into my system has been tenfold. I also felt pressure for a little while to keep going out to clubs and late dinners and drinking and all that stuff, just because that was the kind of group I was hanging out with. I realized that that group of friends wasn't lighting me up, and also those activities weren't lighting me up. So again, another routine structural change. My Saturday nights very quickly went from bored as fuck, spending money I didn't have, to be in places I didn't want to be, to then completely pouring back into myself. They were a lot quieter. I was spending a lot more Saturday nights in enjoying my own company, or having quiet nights with a friend, a wine and cheese board. I also started expanding my mind on what I thought was a potential for me to have an experience in my life. You know that feeling when you have a desire, whether it's to buy something or experience something, and then you immediately shut yourself down because you think, no, it's too expensive, or no, this is too unrealistic, no, this is meant for somebody else, it's not for me. Those types of thoughts that were making me feel negative are the ones that I let go of. You've got to recognize that there's a certain level of you that exists within a particular paradigm. And that paradigm is connected to a whole web and network of belief systems. Some of them are positive, some of them are negative. A lot of these beliefs and conditions don't actually come from you to begin with. It's like a pre-installed manual that you got conditioned with at the beginning of your life. And when you start having experiences in life that you don't like, that's when they start to dismantle. So the negative experiences that you have that may even potentially break you are sometimes your biggest miracles, because they're breaking down that version of you that cannot exist at that new paradigm that you want to exist in. That lifestyle where you travel more, where you have more money, where you have a career that aligns with you, where you are married, where you are getting princess treatment and being spoiled. It can't exist at that level anymore. So you've got to grow. As an example, that version of you that receives princess treatment doesn't have a low self-esteem. It cannot exist. You cannot receive princess treatment and still doubt yourself. The girls who are receiving princess treatment, I swear to you, have an unmatched level of confidence. For the girls who have never experienced that kind of treatment before, who are used to paying for men, it will seem like a really big deal to get princess treatment. You'll feel guilty at first. You'll be like, oh my God, like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to give this to me? You're not going to expect something in return? It's like a state of shock. The girls who are confident and receive princess treatment regularly are never shocked. It's always a mental energy of, as he should, I deserve it. Externally though, they're showing appreciation and saying thank you. But it's just an aura, it's an energy. They exist in a different paradigm. And sometimes we put expectations on ourselves that actually limit us. So you might think that there's a version of you that gets princess treatment, but she's got to be 10 kilos lighter. Or she's got to be making 6 figures, 7 figures a year. Or she's got to be this, she's got to be that. Those limitations are all just coming from limiting beliefs. What if you were enough right now? What if? Can you consider it? What if you could just allow it in right now? What would you do? If a guy gave you $4,000 right now to say, hey, spend it however you like, what would you do? What are the thoughts that come up? Oh my God, that's way too much. Oh my God, are you sure? Are you sure you want to give this to me though? I'm sure that there are other girls who would appreciate it more. I'm sure that blah, blah, blah. What are the kind of thoughts that pop up? Because I'm telling you that a woman who receives princess treatments just says thank you. She's not pining for it. She's not begging for it. She's not even looking for it. She just gets it. And when it's there, she says thank you. And when it's not there, she says thank you next. That's all it is. Her life does not revolve around princess treatment and looking specifically for men who give this kind of treatment. But that being said, if she is dating someone who doesn't spoil her in that way, it's a thank you next. But that's not her only focus in life. She's still focused on her career. She's still focused on herself, how she's making herself happy, how she can continue adding value to the world. Not just to a man's life, but to the world. And you know what? One of the funniest pushbacks I get from women in real life who don't receive princess treatment because they feel like it's a selfish thing to ask for is that they are actually incredibly selfish themselves. And what I mean is they're actually incredibly negative to be around because they look at a woman receiving that kind of treatment and they say that it's like this feeling of, yeah, but you don't deserve it. Yeah, but that's so selfish of you to accept that. That's so mean. That's such taker energy. What are you giving back? If you have thoughts like that when you look at a woman being spoiled, you are trying to take joy from her. You are taking the experience that she's having and you're making it about you. You're making it about yourself. You're making it about your negative belief system. You're internalizing it in your own narcissistic sphere of what you think other people should be experiencing. Women shouldn't be spoiled. Women should be fair. Men have it hard too. Blah, blah, blah. You actually have no idea what's going on in the head of a man who's providing a woman princess treatment. If a man didn't want to be there, he wouldn't be there. Let me tell you that. We have had enough experiences with men to know that they won't be doing jack shit if they don't want to be doing it. A man who gives princess treatment does it because he wants to. He enjoys lighting up her world. He enjoys seeing that smile on her face. He just knows it's part of the damn job. It's not as big of a deal as everyone makes it out to be. It's just really not. It's just part of the pie. If the idea of receiving this kind of treatment makes you nervous, what you need to do is work on your confidence a little bit more. And I really suggest mirror work with this. If you haven't read Louise Hay's famous book, You Can Heal Your Life, get your hands on a copy of it and start doing your mirror work immediately. Start showing yourself more love and appreciation. If you are single and you feel like there's a void in your life, whether you're recently single or not, and you just feel like there's this sense of emptiness, you think you want a partner that will fill the void. What I want you to do is, instead of relying on your coping mechanisms, whatever they are, that could be something to do with eating, that could be shopping, that could be even over exercising, that could be wanting to change your looks, that could be wanting to go out or isolate yourself. Whatever you feel the urge to do when you have that feeling of emptiness come up, I want you to take a second to mentally write a list of things that you're grateful for. As basic as it is, I'm telling you, this stuff really works. You can always fill that void with love and appreciation and joy. And when you do that, you will fill your cup up so much that life will just bless you. Start telling yourself more stories like that as well. Life blesses me. Life is here to support me. God blesses me. I am well loved. I'm well taken care of. I am protected. I am provided for. And anytime you hear a story that encourages fear mongering, please drop it immediately. Any kind of story, any kind of negative story that teaches you that you're not enough, that you've got to be living at a certain level of something or other, looking a certain way, blah, 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 to get what you want, please just disassociate it with immediately. A high value woman is simply just someone who knows her worth and pours into herself like she knows her worth. Because you could be incredibly successful in your career, but still be traumatized, but still be in relationships that hurt you, but still have unhealed childhood wounds, still have daddy issues, whatever it is. You can be the most beautiful, gorgeous woman in the world, and you can also still have the same negative experiences with guys. It's easy to look at people who are doing better than you externally and think that, yeah, but they're an advantage. They're this, they're that. Yeah, but she's pretty. Yeah, but so aren't you. She can be pretty and so aren't you. She can be successful, but so aren't you. Everything in this world is much more of an energy and a mindset than it is about your external circumstances. Everything that happens externally is fluid. It's always going to change. How many times have we heard stories of rich men and women who were previously dirt broke? Was that a reflection of who they were as their highest self? No, it was just a temporary experience in an external circumstances that they decided they just didn't like, and then things just changed. And especially with women, sometimes we're slim, sometimes we're not. It just is the fluidity of life. We're not attached to how things have to be on the external. We're not attached on men giving us princess treatment. We're literally just living our lives. If a guy doesn't want to give you princess treatment, no problem, someone else will. That's okay. Another thing that's worth mentioning when it comes to receiving princess treatment is that it's not really something that you need to ask for, it's just going to be a given. Before you get into a relationship, it's up to you to get really clear on what kind of treatment that you want to receive, because of course there will be different levels of princess treatment. Some women just genuinely don't care about stuff, and that's fine. Their princess treatment will come in the form of acts of service, or maybe holidays, or maybe just free time to garden, whatever their passion is. Other women like gifts and they'll get gifts. Other women like travel. Other women like whatever it is. If you want expensive travel, if you want luxury, that's when you need to strengthen your relationship with abundance, because those kinds of things can come from a man, but essentially, as we've said before, the man is always just a channel for the source of abundance that comes from source itself. So don't limit yourself to one source ever. The man giving you princess treatment is simply just a physical reflection of how he values you. It's not the point in life. It's not the point in relationships, because trust me, you will get that experience from men. And when it starts to become normal, it's not going to give you that high. You can't let that be your source of validation. You can't let that be your source of happiness. It's got to come from somewhere else. So what I would recommend is doing some internal digging on how you show up in relationship to abundance. I love the definition of abundance stated by Bashar, the channelings of Bashar by Daryl Anchor. They say that the definition of abundance is the ability to receive what you need when you need it. And I 100% stand by that. Money is not your only source of abundance. God is. Universe is. The source is sourcing today. Having this new definition of abundance and taking your attachment to money away will help you open your mind to accepting new forms of assistance from the universe, divine synchronicities, things that just fall into place, new ideas, maybe new business ventures, maybe not. Maybe you'll actually let go of a business venture because maybe you came up with that idea when you were in a period of scarcity, when you were afraid of not having money, when you were afraid of being committed to a job you didn't like. Sometimes we come up with creative ideas that aren't actually that abundant because they don't come from the right place. And that will always limit you to what you can receive in this life. So one exercise that I encourage you to do, if you feel like you want to buy something or experience something, and something comes up in your head that says you can't afford this, no, whatever reason it is, when those kinds of internal objections come up, ask yourself, do I want to take this with me in this next journey of life? Do I want to take this thought with me? Does it feel good to me? Does it lift me up? Is it the absolute truth? No. Remember what we said. You don't need to play God. You can be of God, you can be of source, of the universe, but the thing is, you don't need to play God. You can let God do God. You can just be you and enjoy life. Don't try to play this character of God that you know everything, and instead just recognize the thoughts for what they are. Just thoughts, just beliefs connected to that certain paradigm of you. And when you disengage from it, the paradigm just gets weaker and weaker, and it usually just falls away. All those internal objections, all that low self-esteem that you have in response to the treatment that you really want, it's all just going to start falling away. The last thing I want to leave you with is receiving this kind of treatment from men doesn't make you entitled. In fact, it doesn't make you anything, because it's not actually about you, it's about him. Don't make the experience about you. Whether he gives you princess treatment or not, it doesn't freaking matter. Because if you were to take the way a man treats you and make it about you, it can put you in a dangerous position, because then what do you do if you're in a situation in which a man is stringing you along or treating you less than? Are you also going to take that on board and make that about you? My advice would be don't. Don't ever make the way a man treats you about you. Don't internalize it. Take it for face value. Just see it as a reflection of the way that he feels about himself or the way he feels about you, which again doesn't have anything to do with your self-worth, with who you are as a person. It's just an experience. It's just a thing. It just is what it is. Just separate yourself from it. You can experience it because when you're on the receiving end of something, obviously you're going to feel the intention of the energy behind it. But it kind of loses its attachment to you when you realize it's not actually about you. So whether he's treating you less than or whether he's treating you more than, again, it's just an experience that you allow to flow in your feminine energy. When you are rooted in your divine feminine energy, every experience that you have in this life, whether it's romantic or in your career or your business or just whatever it is, you allow it to flow into and through your system. If you have your walls up and you're defensive, it's going to keep butting heads. You're going to keep experiencing it, by the way, because there's obviously something in your magnetic field that keeps attracting it. When you are defensive, that's when you call it in. When you're in feminine flow and you have a negative experience, it flows through faster. You will still probably feel the negative side effects, but it doesn't hit a story. It doesn't hit a story about yourself. I see this really play out in narcissistic people where when they have a negative experience, it gets stuck in their energy field and then they internalize it and then they make it all about them and it gets filtered through their perception of who they are, how they exist in the world. And you know what they do when they can't handle their emotions and they go into a little shame spiral? They blame you. You're the reason I'm feeling this way. You're this. You make me feel insecure. Blah, 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 blah. Not realizing that they have the same power as you to take accountability in that moment, to say, I am having an experience that is making me feel this way. Why am I in this experience? And I honestly think for a lot of women, when it comes to experiences with narcissistic men, the best thing that you can do is just remove yourself from that situation. I'm currently feeling insecure in this relationship. I'm going to remove myself from it and do the inner work to make sure that I'm feeling secure in myself, to know that I deserve a man who shows that security back to me. But you can only receive that security when you have it within already. Yes, your man should be making you feel secure. He should be reassuring you. He should be spoiling you. He should be treating you well. All of that basic bare minimum shit. You're not going to get it if you don't think that you deserve it. You're not going to get it if you don't give it to yourself already. And the more you practice it, including in those moments when you feel alone, when you feel like life is a little bit shit, if you practice it in those moments, it's all going to come. I promise you, it's all going to come. It's incredible how the world changes your reflection. It's incredible how things just change when you get your head out of the dusty, love. When you stop pretending that you like a guy who treats you like shit, when you stop pretending that you have a crush on a fucking loser, when you stop engaging and giving attention to men who just like are taking a free ride off you. And that's also something that I think is hilarious as well, that guys, especially those kinds of fuck boys who don't really have anything going on in their life and they think that they're just shit, or actually sometimes they have really low self-esteem, they are constantly riding off the back of women. Constantly. They are always hiding behind women. And I look at those women in particular and I say the fact that you are getting an ego boost from his attention is what's keeping you stuck in the dusty, love. Don't ever let yourself have an ego boost when a man shows you attention, positive or negative. Don't ever fucking let that change your self-esteem, good or bad. I swear to the Lord, don't ever attach your self-esteem to how a man perceives you. I used to know a girl who would get hit on by men left, right, and center. Her DMs were constantly flooded. She was always on the apps and she would get approached in real life as well. She was not even the most beautiful looking woman you've ever seen, but she had a very strong energy, a very strong sexual energy about her. But no one would ever commit to her. But you know what her biggest problem was? Her self-esteem. Anytime she got a message from a guy, she ate it up. Oh, look who's messaging me. Oh, look, it's not a flex. When you get hit on by a guy, it's not a flex. Just keep living your life. You just see it and you go, it is what it is. Okay. He thinks I'm pretty. Okay, cool. I'm not saying, by the way, that when you meet the right man, you won't have feelings and that you'll be nonchalant. No, you will still have those positive emotions because, as we said, you're still experiencing the energy of the intention behind it. But what I mean is, if you're just getting an ego hit, a little boost every time that a guy gives you attention, it's like there's something wrong there. And those kinds of girls never receive that good treatment because you're trying to be too cool. You're trying to be too chill. Too much approval from men is actually probably a really bad thing because it means you're doing something wrong. You can, through the power of your feminine energy, transform your lust into sensuality. Especially in dark feminine energy, sensuality is something that you can lead with, but lust is a sign of a dysregulated or the shadow aspect of dark feminine energy. We don't want to lead with lust. We want to lead with our sensuality. And that's something that you can harness and transform. Something that I already talk about in major detail in the Feminine Embodiment series. And I'll leave it at that. And as a final announcement as well, my coaching that I put on hold is back on track. She's available again. It's also a little bit different. Before I was just doing one-off sessions. I'm now also offering packages as well, but they're structured packages. So if you want to work on your confidence, you need to change your self-concept. You want to be the woman who receives princess treatment. You want to step into your best self. You want to become a high-value bestie. This is the coaching package for you. Anywho, thank you so much for listening to this episode. That's all I have for you today. I've really enjoyed today. It's been really fun, but I enjoy talking about princess treatment. I could never get sick of that. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.